Hey there, Hofstra fans, and welcome to the very first WB Mason Coaches Report of the new year as we start the fall season. I'm Kevin Dexter, joined by the head coach of the Hofstra Pride women's soccer team, Simon Riddiough. Coach, ready to get back and going? How you doing?
Yeah, I think I'm ready, Kevin. Yourself?
Doing well. It's been a good summer. Just a couple of days away from the first game already. Can't believe it, but how's the summer gone? How's this team looking so far in preseason?
It was a quick summer. Obviously, we came in earlier than usual. Preseason's going well. The team's ready to go. We've still got some fine things to tune in for this rest of the week, but hopefully by Friday we'll be organised enough to get a good performance in and hopefully springboard the season.
Well, you just had the scrimmage against Fairleigh Dickinson, first time you got to see the team in game action. What did you learn the most from that scrimmage?
It's a difficult one. The first scrimmage is always it's like a Clint Eastwood movie, the good, the bad and the ugly. So we saw some good things, we saw some bad things, and we saw some really ugly things. And you know, as long as you learn from those experiences and move forward, and I think we've got a team who are coachable, who are intelligent players. I think it bodes well for the future. It wasn't the greatest result, it wasn't the greatest performance, but it was exactly where we anticipated we would be at this time of the season.
Well, looking at the team as a whole, obviously, you're missing some key seniors. You lost to graduation from last year. When you approach this season and you look at your team, is there any way you can replace those players? Obviously, coming to mind, Laura Green, Brittany Butts, Courtney Breen. Are you just looking to kind of implement a different style?
Yeah, when you have seniors of that caliber, it's always difficult to replace them. It's almost we have to do a team effort, and if everybody gives 3 to 5% more from last year, and then we sprinkle in some quality freshmen, then you can almost compensate for their loss. You have to change your system a little bit, you have to change your style a little bit, because different personnel bring different talents. But I think the gauntlet was set last spring with our team, and the returners have really stepped up, and they became physically prepared for pre-season. And the freshmen coming in, I think we've got some special players who eventually will have very, very good careers.
Well, starting to look at this team as a whole, I'm going to start at the back, in the goal. Obviously, you've had the platoon system we know from a couple of years ago. You have a couple of talented goaltenders. What are you expected to see? Obviously, Emily Morpheus and Kylie Schuster as well.
Well, Emily comes into pre-season as the number one. She's played for 2 years now. She's a veteran, as you would say, and she's a very good goalkeeper. Kylie Schuster and Lucy Gillett. Kylie had some good experience last year in goal because of Emily's injuries, and she did a very good job deputising. She's going to be challenging again. Again, she's a senior academically, a junior athletically, so she's been around the team enough, and she's been in a team that's won a lot of games. So she knows what to expect. And Lucy was a freshman last year, probably a little bit wet behind the ears. But she's had a good summer. She played with the Lady Riders in the summer, and she's improving and increasing her enthusiasm and belief, and now she's challenging for that starting spot as well. So it's a good challenge for all three goalkeepers to be going at each other.
On front of the keepers, obviously, on defense, you don't have a ton of seniors on the team, but you do have the luxury of having Brooke Vandernagel, one of your seniors, back there, along with a couple of other talented players on the wings, etc. What are you expecting to see from those players?
Well, our back four is basically going to be the same one we had towards the last 5-6 games of last season. You know, we've got Ruby Staples and Kaylin Dudley and Brittany Farrell and Brooke Vandernagel. All played a lot of games in their careers. Some younger careers than others, but they've all played full seasons. They all give a good understanding of the game. They understand what's expected from the back four. They understand our shape. They understand all the tactical side of it, and physically they're very talented. We're hoping to keep that same back four. But then again, we've got 2 or 3 other players who have been pushing for them in this pre-season, and we're going to try different things. And we're hoping that for the future it's going to look very, very good.
And as we spoke about before, with the seniors you lost from last year, midfield obviously creates a hole on paper, but how are you expecting to fill up for those losses of obviously 2 really key players in program history?
Yeah, they would, you know, if you're going to list an all-time great Hofstra soccer team, those 2 would be on it. not only just as players but as people. They're really quality people, and those are the people I want every player from Hofstra to aspire to. I want them to graduate as good citizens, and those two are fantastic, and they still give to the program, and they're still involved with the program. So I'm excited that we had those two people on the team, and replacing them is never easy. Again, it's going to be a platooning situation. We've got some depth in that position, but replacing those two special players is never going to happen. But we're going to have different players with different qualities, play a little bit of a different style, and hopefully accentuate their positives, and get a really efficient, successful midfield line. And I think we're getting to that stage right now.
Well, up top, obviously you lose a lot of your goal scoring as well with Laura Green. So is goal scoring, is that an area of concern when you look at the forwards up top this year?
Not really. I think the sophomore class, who were freshmen last year, have taken well to the challenge. We didn't have Amber Stobbs last year, who's a tremendous little player. And we're going to sprinkle some freshmen in that forward rotation. A big-time goal scorer kind of takes away from the rest of a team's offensive output. You tend to focus on getting the ball to that person. But in essence, that's an easier way to stop Hofstra. Teams say, okay, stop Laura Green, you're going to have a good chance of beating this team. They can't say that this year. We've got 4 or 5 offensive weapons, and they might isolate on one player, but to the detriment of the other players, So I'm excited for our front three. I'm excited for our front six. I think we've got depth. I think we've got rotation ability. I think we can play a high intensity level, and I think things are looking good from a maturity aspect. I think we get to a stage where we're going to rely on a lot of juniors and sophomores, which only bodes well for this year and next.
Well, with the first game coming up on Friday against Ohio State, you've built a tough non-conference slate for this team to prepare yourself for the conference slate. Of course, pick third in the preseason polls this year. What are you really expecting to get out of this team in the non-conference in order to be ready for the CAA?
Well, we always, you've got to balance it out, your schedule. You want to get in that large bid if you don't get the automatic from the conference. And that's always our goal with our non-conference schedule. We want to put teams in there which would, if we get the win, if we get a good result, then the NCAA committee at the end of the year say, oh, quality win, Hofstra, this is a chance to get an at-large if we do well in conference. And that's always been our philosophy. We've got to play the best to prepare for the CAA. It's a very tough conference and a lot of parity. And we feel that if you play against really good teams in the non-conference, then when you get to conference, you're prepared physically and mentally and emotionally. On the other side of it, you experience a lot of obstacles, and you get to find out about your team in that first month, and you can kind of adjust accordingly to move forward. So from that perspective, the non-conference schedule is very tough, but it's what we want, it's what we expect, it's what the team want. We want to play the best teams, and hopefully it'll bode well.
Well, Ohio State being one of the best teams on that non-conference schedule, they come in here Friday. Is it going to be something that you're looking to still see the growing pains? You obviously want this team to be ready to go 100% for the first game.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Lloyd Walker has done a fantastic job at Ohio State, and they're perennial powers. They traditionally get to the NCAAs year in, year out. That's where we want to be as a program. We want to be that every year NCAAs. We're not there yet. We're every other year, hopefully, one every 3 years. So getting a game against an Ohio State and getting them to come to Hofstra is a tremendous coup for us. We don't expect anything from the first game of the season. We never do. We're still getting the kinks out of our armour. We're still getting to feel where we are and what we do. If we play well against Ohio State, it will really look good for us moving on in the season. If we don't, then we'll change a couple of things and we'll prepare for the following weekend. And that's our attitude. You can't get too disappointed at this stage of the season. You can't get too excited. You've got to have a level head. Realise what our ultimate goal is, which is a CAA championship and the NCAA.
and from then on, you know, you take the bumps and ride with them, and we know what to expect. We know what Ohio State's about. They're a very good, well-organised, big, strong, physical team, and play good stuff. And you know, it's going to be a battle. And if we can compete, then I'm going to be happy with that, regardless of the result or whatever. I just want us to be competitive and get a good start to our season in that aspect.
Well, what's going to be the key to, I mean, not just being competitive, but maybe picking up a win on Friday against Ohio State?
Well, we're going to have to get a little bit of luck. If we can be organised defensively and allow some of our special players to blossom, get some good performances from our back line and our goalkeeping area, I think we always have a chance to win games, and that's ultimately where we're going to be at.
Well, Coach, any final thoughts or any expectations on the season as we get things started on Friday?
No, I'm excited. This is what it's all about. You know, we work hard for 2 weeks in pre-season, and it's a little bit longer for the season to start. It's nervous, it's exciting, but I'm hoping that this team will do Hofstra proud. They always do, and you know, we've got a really good group of players.
All right, well, Coach Riddiough and his squad will be in action here at Hofstra Soccer Stadium Friday evening, 7 o'clock start again over at Hofstra Soccer Stadium. Coach, thanks very much for the time. Good luck on Friday.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
And thank you for tuning in to the WB Mason Coaches Report right here on GoHofstra.com.